Our Casuarina Tree, written by Toru Dutt. Toru Dutt was an Indian poet and she died at the age of 21, suffering from tuberculosis like her siblings. Her poem, Our Casuarina Tree, was published in 1881 after her death. Casuarina Tree is precious to the poet Toru Dutt as she used to play beneath it with her siblings and her friends. In this poem, she describes the tree as a gallant giant that bears the strong hold of the creeper with dignity. She expresses her sentiments to it through this poem. She revives her childhood days when they used to play in the shade of the tree. Let's read and understand the poem. Like a huge python winding round and round, the rugged trunk indented deep with scars. Here, the poetess recollects her memory associated with the casuarina tree, although she is far away from the tree, but she could feel its presence. She compares the creeper with huge python. Children, a python is a huge snake that kills its prey by squeezing it with its body. She says that the creeper twines around the tree's trunk and holds so firmly that it has left deep scars on its rough and irregular trunk. The figure of speech simile is used in the first line like a huge python. Here, poetess compares the creeper with the python. Up to its very summit near the stars, a creeper climbs. The python like creeper climbs up to the tree's top. Here, the poetess says that her casuarina tree is so tall and huge that its top reaches the sky near the stars. Children, hyperbole is used in this line. In whose embraces bound, no other tree could live. Here, the poet says that the tree is so strong that it bears python like creeper so firmly that no other tree could survive bearing the strong hold of the creeper. Here, the poetess praises the tree as it is so dear to her. It's not like that no tree has creepers around them. No. Many trees with the creepers around them can be seen. But Toru Dutt is emotionally attached with this tree because this tree is so special and no other tree is as important in her eyes as the casuarina tree. But gallantly, the giant wears the scarf and flowers are hung in crimson clusters all the boughs among. She says that the tree is gigantic, bold and strong as it gallantly carries the creeper on it with pride and dignity. The tree holds the creeper which bears crimson red flowers among the boughs. Means crimson red cluster of flowers cover its boughs. It seems that the tree is wearing a beautiful red scarf, whereon all day are gathered bird and bee. It means all day the birds and the swarm of bees are seen on and around the tree. And oft at nights the garden overflows with one sweet song that seems to have no close, sung darkling from our tree while men repose. She says, often at nights a beautiful melodious chirping song of bird, especially the kokila, which is similar to the cuckoo or the nightingale, and humming sound of bees give immense pleasure to the poet. And she says, it seems that the song has no close, no end, and will continue throughout the dark when all others take rest. Okay, in this stanza, metaphor is used as tree is compared to a giant due to its huge size, and the creeper covered with flowers is compared to as scarf also. Next stanza. When first my casement is wide open thrown, at dawn my eyes delighted on its rest. Here the poetess says, in the early morning, when she opens her window, she is overjoyed to see her beloved tree. Line number 3. Sometimes, and most in winter, on its crest, a grey baboon sits statue-like alone, watching the sunrise while on lower boughs his puny offspring leap about and play. Now here I have attached a picture of baboon. You can see on the screen. As she loves to see the view of her beloved tree, and she says that mostly in winters a grey baboon is seen sitting on its crest alone and still like a statue, watching the sunrise and his small young ones leap and play on the tree. Here, offspring means young ones. Next line, and far and near kokilas hail the day. Somewhere cuckoos welcome the day, chirping from far and near. Now the poetess feels that the day is welcomed and begun by the chirping of birds, humming of bees, and other activities of animals. Next line. And to their pastures wend our sleepy cows. As it's early morning, cows and other cattle move slowly but unsteadily to their pastures for grazing. And in the shadow on the broad tank cast means the shadow of tree boughs appears to fall on the broad water tank. By that whole tree, so beautiful and vast, the water lilies spring like snow and must. Okay, by that whole tree means, and near that old and grey tree, beautiful water lilies spring and spread across the water's surface just like snow spread in a mass. The phrase like snow and mast has simile in it as the whiteness of the water lilies is compared to the snow. Last stanza. But not because of its magnificence, dear is a casuarina to my soul, beneath it we have played. The poet says that the tree is so dear to her heart and soul, not because of its splendor or greatness, but it reminds her of those happy days when she used to play under the tree with her companions, with her sister and brothers. Now they are no more. Though years may roll, O sweet companions, loved with love intense, for your sakes shall the tree be ever dear. The poet says that the tree shall always remain dear to her as it is associated with her siblings, friends, companions, whom she loves very much. Blent with your images, it shall arise in memory till the hot tears blind mine eyes. As she associates the tree with her childhood friends and her siblings with whom she spent many happy moments under the tree, so she hopes, actually, she wishes to immortalize the tree. She hopes that the tree shall remain there in the memory of her companions, her siblings, till she will shed the tears as she misses them a lot. Here she wishes that the tree shall live to eternity in the memory of her siblings. Now, last four lines. What is that dirge like murmur that I hear, like the sea breaking on a shingle beach? It is the tree's lament, an eerie speech that haply to the unknown land may reach. As the poetess says that the tree reminds her of beautiful and happy moments spent with her companions, she is filled with deep and intense feeling of grief and love for them. In the meantime, she hears a mournful sound. It signifies that the tree shares sad moments of the poet and mourn along with her. This mournful sound is similar to the sound of sea water striking against the sea beach full of pebbles. It's the tree's lament, an eerie speech. Lament means expression of grief. So here she says that the tree expresses its grief in a strange manner and she is hopeful that it will reach to the unknown land. Here, although she is in a far off land, but she could hear the tree lamenting her absence. Though she is far away from the tree, but she expresses her wish that the tree should be remembered as long as she is sad and misses her companions. Children, Apart from similes and metaphor, personification and apostrophe are also used in the poem. So here tree is personified singing its lament, which might be the rustling sound of the wind through the leaves. And apostrophe is used when she says, "In memory till the hot tears blind mine eyes." This is all for today. Thank you.